Well, welcome everybody to Mark Bajerski Truth Bomb podcast. The topic today is humanity losing their connection. So the title was, I believe, soon humanity will lose all their thoughts completely. And we usher in an era of AI, Elon Musk's wet dream, and here we go. We no longer have any thoughts of our own, and the mass AI technology globally, worldwide, will be our thought. They will stimulate us with thoughts. We're at a pinnacle right now of the battle between light and dark, and that battle, as you can clearly see, has become so evident that they're not worried at all about what they're doing. They're not frightened. They're happy to put an automaton into the most powerful nation and basically tell you that he's not really a president, where we are in charge, and that is darkness. It's all connected to cult. It's all connected to dark entities, connected to what we would just deem as evil. Evil, what does evil mean? Evil to me just means that those who want to control the many in any way they can. So we've known for a long time, and I've done many videos with regards to the fact that humanity is being lied to and manipulated. And I've done loads of videos on explaining how humanity are mere chattel, we're called, to those that believe that they are the leaders or the ones to control the herd. And as they see us as ants or flies on a windscreen that need to be cleaned off. So when you realize this, when you realize that what we were programmed to believe as from children till this moment, that there is a force that is voted in by law and voted in by humanity, you, to choose somebody that will take care of you. This, of course, now has been exposed daily, and we all know now it's an illusion, and there is absolutely no truth in that whatsoever. It's merely control, and it's sleight of hand. I call it the Paul McKenna effect. They give you what you want to see. They give you what you want or what you need, and at the same time, what they're giving you is poison. They're giving you a lie. And the whole game is to control. And by controlling, you need to control the mind. You need to control the pineal gland. We should get into that a little bit today. The pineal gland, which is a thing, a real thing that can be seen under a CAT scan. You can see it. It looks like the Buddha's head, which looks like a pine cone, which coincidentally, pine oil is absolutely incredible, rubbed here and here. That's why I have an oil called awakening oil. And guess what's in the awakening oil? Pine oil, 100% organic pine oil. And it decalcifies, it penetrates and clears that. And so does many other things. We'll go into great detail. I think we should go into detail in that, actually. I wasn't going to go in that direction, but I think that might be a good idea to start with. However, if we just have a look at the spiritual aspect of this, I think you've heard by now that many, a wise soul have said that there's only one person in the world that can ever help you, right? There's many wise souls out there saying that the only the only thing you can do in this world to heal it is heal yourself. And the problem is we've been brainwashed to believe that we're not good enough, we're not enough, we have no significance in this world, we have no power. And you'll see that across the board. 99% of people will say that. Well, what can I do? That as a confirmation to show that you've been targeted by the very manipulators, the darkness in this world, to dumb you down, to make you believe you're nothing, and to enforce and reinforce this feeling of guilt when you even dare try to do something nice for yourself. And the word selfishness is used often by programmed people. They're selfish. Look at them going on holiday all the time. Look at them going for a massage. Look at them, enjoying themselves. Look, selfishness. You see, it's all attached so that everybody attacks everybody else. And thus we have created self-policing in a spiritual manner. We self-police. The judgment is profound. In fact, it's absolutely brutal at this moment in time. And the reason why we self-police is because we've been a target of the greatest psyop and poisoning in the history of mankind, I would say, now more than ever. Probably started a long time ago, as we saw in the concentration camps, where they were pouring fluoride into the water to dumb everybody down so they would just walk around like zombies. They wouldn't have a thought about, doing anything. And that's never stopped, really. But they're so clever because they can create a false illusion by saying there's a man in a white coat that says that actually fluoride is really good for you. I think that was created to get the fluoride in the water. So you've got all of these false statements, all of these lies, manipulations by the very dark hand that controls the world and controls nearly 90% of science, and makes you believe that everything that the FDA grants is good. Whereas in actual fact, they are all actually manipulated, bought and paid for, because humanity has a great flaw, and that is fear, the fear of the unknown. So if a hidden hand tells you you're going to lose your wage, you're going to be kicked out and mocked and ridiculed, then it's very easy to say these food colorings are safe. This processed food with all them chemicals in them, all good. And of course, they realize, well, now we're going to have to, now that we're fooled and manipulated, and now we've got the poisons in all the food and water, now we need to manipulate, the herd into not realizing that when we are nearly at 1-to-1 cancer ratio, or 2-to-1. So for every 2 people, anybody you meet, one of you is going to get cancer. We're going to have to dumb people down to not realize why this is happening. It's the biggest elephant in the room. Nobody sees it. Nobody questions it. Oh, poor person. Oh, they've got cancer. Straight into the chemo. Come on. So that's where it kind of begins. That's the ground level. That's the beginning of the plan of darkness. But there's something more sinister, and it gets into the spiritual realms, that because I said we are the very powerful energy, the energy that was within us can basically power 10 full streets with all electricity and light. It's been proven over and over again that we've got so much energy inside that we can create anything that we want. But of course, again, we've been suppressed not to believe that we are anything or anybody. And when anybody says, like, we're all seen, we're all powerful, people just laugh and say, I don't see no powerful within me. I just feel bad all the time. And that is because you're living in a world that has created bad, that has created fear, that has created enslavery, that has created you to go to work every day and pay the bills. If not, you'll be locked up and thrown in prison. You go to work every day because if not, you'll be mocked and ridiculed by self-policing of everybody says that you're a lazy bum. And that the system that you live in is a good system. And without that system, there would be anarchy and chaos, all a psyop, all being put there to reduce you to the very life that you lead, which is eating, sleeping, drinking, and working. That's it. That's your life. And if you're lucky, you might have a few laughs here and there, but as you get older, them laughs disappear a little bit more because of the strain and stress of your, here we go, consciousness saying this isn't the life we're meant to be living. This isn't how we're meant to be existing. We are here to change the world to a better place, and yet you're conforming every day by giving your power away to the very dark entities that rule this world. We become part of the lies. We become part of the manipulations, and we digest them every day with pain and suffering. We pretend they're not there, and thus cancer is created. Thus pain and suffering psychologically is created daily in the vast majority of people, which is basically a spiritual dumbing down. And if you're lucky, you get 2 weeks off on holiday, and after the 12th day, you might have just started to relax, and then you're packing to come back again and saving up all year to do it again. And thus we create a cycle of slaves that just simply obey the system because that's all they know. That's all we know. And yet some people break out from that. That's what I find fascinating. Some people break free from the very patterns. And I've often wondered why that certain people see through the bullshit as children and grow up and see through the bullshit. Not many, but a few. And they don't conform to darkness. They don't conform to the spell, to the spells which are created every single moment of every single day that we are part of. We are all part of spells every day, whether they're words, whether they're actions, whether they're rituals. We conform. When you conform, you're part of the spell, the ritual. So this is fascinating. But yeah, I guess what we should look at is we'll do this as part one. Part one is definitely the physical. Definitely the physical. Part two is the emotional, and part three is the spiritual. So part one is today then, and let's focus on that. Part one is about the pineal gland, which we all know is connected to all the chakras. It runs down to all the power points that are connected to the physical. So it's not just the gut, it's not just the heart or the throat or the brain. It's connected to the whole body. So the pineal gland is the let's say the antenna would be the closest thing, I guess, but it's also far more powerful than that. It's not just a receiver, but it actually admits an energy as well. And that energy that it receives is vital, because that energy that you receive is the energy of what I call the universal spiritual flow that's around us and above us. It's always there. It's connected to incredible information. It's connected to our spirit world, if you believe that. It's connected to, you can call it the God consciousness, you can call it angels, you can call it whatever you want, but it's connected to a higher energy. And we've noticed now that fewer and fewer people over these past 2 decades are actually coming up with anything new. And I think the whole point why I made this today was because most people are just regurgitating information, which is information that has been fed for the past decade or two. There is no new information. It's all recycled. And there are very few people who right now hit upon things which are genius. And I would argue the fact that this is happening is because the pineal gland has been the number one target for darkness to destroy, whether it be with energy wave frequency, which I truly believe is all part of the agenda that we've been told that, oh no, you don't need fiber optics. You don't need fiber optics. You want this fast Wi-Fi. And that's how they've got around that. When I listened to Barry Trower, one of the things he said is that we have alternatives to this very, very poisonous and radiation energy, which is going to cause people a lot of suffering in so many ways, which is a very safe environment. Yes, it might cost more money, and you will argue that that's the reason why. I will argue that's not the reason why at all, because it's cost effective to do Wi-Fi. I don't believe. I mean, there's already infrastructure below, and yes, we might need to dig a little bit more, but that is safe. It goes straight to your computer. It's a very safe form of communication. And of course, they didn't use it, and very few people use it. And there's a reason why, that while we were all in lockdown, miraculously, like a miracle, wonder how many millions and millions of people were actually working for the, this is what I can't get my head around, how people don't see it. How millions upon millions of people worldwide in the lockdown were working for the very death towers which were being put up. I saw death towers being appearing. I saw them just appear. I didn't see anybody structurally make them. I didn't see companies coming and laying the foundations and building them up with great trucks with cement and, spending time as you would do when you see a house being built. There's a house being built up here. This place was built up here. You can't build something like a unit and not see things being happening. I believe it was there was something else at play as well. And yes, there were certain people who were building them. There's no doubt about that. But the amount that were built, and apparently we were all meant to be locked up, because don't forget we were all gonna, contaminate each other. So that in itself, even if you don't believe what I say, that I believe they were built by a different force, a different energy that is of what I believe is not of this world. And it's just something that I've always found fascinating. And even if I'm wrong, how many millions of people must it have taken to go outside and build these towers while we were all locked up and nobody was allowed out because it was going to spread? But it was okay for those guys to go out and build the towers because they're not going to spread anything. So you can see whatever way you look at it, it's a deceit and it's a lie. And why did they build these towers? And we know now that towers are causing great harm to people. People are going to court every day saying they don't want a tower next to their school. They don't want a tower next to their home. Why? Because people are suffering. They're receiving headaches. They're getting tinnitus. They're getting ill. They're getting cancers. But the main reason why they were built is not because of the frequency that makes your phone faster, although that's what they say it was, because you need a cover story for everything. Just like the cover story for fluoride. Fluoride is really good for your teeth. They've brainwashed all dentists to believe this. That's a cover story. But the main reason why fluoride is put into your water is to dumb you down. And when we say dumbing down, it's of the pineal gland. And believe it or not, Wi-Fi, that energy, that radiation, causes great trauma to the pineal gland, which is the most sensitive part of the body, which receives everything from the body. It really is the center of everything in a neurological way. And it's fascinating when you realize that when we talk about the third eye, we're talking about the pineal gland, we're talking about the higher and the most powerful connection to all that is, and thus less and less people are actually having any thoughts of their own. And when I say thoughts, the thoughts that I talk about is not the ones that you've watched a black screen all day and then you regurgitate the information. I'm talking about the thought of sitting down under a tree and an apple hits you, and then all of a sudden, you know, you come up with the theory of gravity and what have you. And that's just a stupid way of putting it, but just a general thought, what comes from nowhere, that is such an impactful thought that changes your life. Not many people are getting those thoughts anymore. They're disappearing day by day. And why is that? It's because darkness and these that control this world know that if they can get to your pineal gland, they can dumb you down. And once you're dumbed down and you have no thoughts of your own, you are then deemed, okay, this is the sheep that just keeps eating the grass. And that's it. But when the sheep decides that he doesn't like this grass, he doesn't like where he is, and he might be a black sheep and he's jumping out over the fence and going off and doing his own thing, then the shepherd is going to be really angry and get upset because he can't control the black sheep, a bit like you and I at times. But I would hasten to say that I think that we are all being attacked. And I think you, as well as me, are still being attacked every day. And it's something that we have to be aware of, because my thoughts aren't what they were 20 years ago. And I have to keep up to the strengthening of the pineal gland. And I have to work upon the pineal gland so that I do receive the information that I need to keep me from losing my mind and throwing myself off a bridge, because it's all too much, this world. Only those that have a great intuition that is powerful, that pineal gland is powerful and strong, that receives information, and the pineal gland gives out an energy as well. So it receives and it gives out, and that energy it gives out is a wave that allows other people to see things. So I've often said to you that you can hear somebody talking like a politician and he says nothing, and then you can be with somebody that says nothing and you can feel everything. And that's because they're speaking through their pineal gland. You can feel them. So sometimes I might speak to you and all of a sudden you'll go, oh my God. Or you'll meet somebody else who will say something and you'll go, wow. And that's because their pineal gland is strong and functioning. And if your pineal gland is strong and functioning, you will be able to do the same thing to others. You'll be able to touch them in a way that mere words mean nothing. Just like when, you know, Klaus Schwab speaks, Bill Gates speaks. It's just words. And those words, if your pineal gland is not functioning, if your spiritual antenna isn't functioning, then you will listen like a robot and you will digest it like a robot. You will agree with it like a computer system, and you'll just keep going on, because you can't discern anything. You don't know what right from wrong anymore. You're just feeding yourself with information. So I guess that certain things that I would maybe want to talk about, as I'm not a nutritionist, I'm a healer, but I can tell you certain things that my clients and those that I know who are in the industry, like Layla Satie, who spends her lifetime in health and well-being, and that I've learned from many great, wonderful people in this world that have shared certain information about how to strengthen the pineal gland. So I guess we might as well start with the things that kill the pineal gland. It never actually dies. I don't believe it dies unless you went in there and cut it or caused cancer in the brain and then you die of cancer. But pineal gland can always be saved. It can always be cleaned. It can always be detoxed. So the first thing you have to think about, I guess, is what you're putting inside your mouth. That's number one. It's vital. What goes into your mouth and what cleanses and clears the pineal gland. Now, what a wonderful thing to do for this next coming month. We are now only going to focus on the pineal gland, and we are going to strengthen the pineal gland. What a beautiful focus today. What a beautiful thing to talk about. How do we strengthen the pineal gland? How do we clear the pineal gland of all of what people talk about? Have you ever seen your tap or your kettle? And after a while, it starts to get a residue of calcium. What do? Just so simple. It's like an animal eating certain herbs to feel better. We observe these animals and we take from it. Well, I'm just saying, when you observe I know this isn't natural because a kettle's not natural and neither is a tap, but there is a natural phenomena that happens, which is cal. And how do you clean the cal? You clean the cal with vinegar, right? You're going to go for the natural things. No natural, no man-made poisons, no FDA-approved crap. We're talking about just natural things. So we go for vinegar. So let's say then this month we need to get, because the breaking through the brain barrier is probably one of the hardest things to do in a natural way. That's why it's harder to get rid of parasites in the brain than it is in the gut. Because obviously if you drink down, it goes into the gut. But to get that up into your brain is a little bit more challenging, because what comes into the brain is very pure, apparently. So I imagine that to be the case. So if we purify the water, this is going to detox the brain and the pineal gland. So I guess that the most obvious thing is everything that you eat should be what Mother Nature intended you to eat. That's it. So what did Mother Nature give you? Look at it. What does Mother Nature grow? Everything that she grows is going to be healthy, is going to be good for you. So first of all, we change our diet to fruit and vegetables. But we don't just eat fruit and vegetables from a supermarket, because we know that everything in a supermarket is being poisoned. We know that a peel is now Bill Gates' favorite poison, which he covers the apple with a poison, which if you put that into your body, it's going to cause poison into your body. So you're going to look for natural sources of fruit and vegetables. So you're going to hunt for the most natural. You're going to look for farms that grow, and you're going to ask them, first of all, do you spray your crops? It's really important. And if they say, yeah, and you say, what do you use? Well, what everybody uses, a glytamate. It's a spray which we spray and it's preparation for the fruit and vegetable. Okay, see you later. Why? Because that is a poison, and that poison is going to affect your pineal gland. It's also going to create cancer in your body, and it's going to mess your immune system. It's going to mess your everything in your body, everything. So you're going to go to farms that are organic, that won't use this kind of stuff. You're going to try and find fruits which are natural and organic, which haven't got the poison in it. You don't want any poison at all. The water that you drink, I drink, out of all the waters that I drink agua pana. There's no fluoride in there. So I invest and I spend, I don't know, €100 for my water, and it lasts me for a couple of months, something like that, maybe 3 months. But that €100 is like me spending €1,000,000 on myself if I was sick and ill. So I look at that as a prevention of being sick and ill. So that is medicine to me. Pure water is medicine. And before that, I used to travel 2 hours in my car. I kid you not, I'm not lying. 2 hours. And I used to pick the water up from the mountains, and it was spring water. So that's really important. Natural spring water as best you can. Now, I've got 4 systems in the farm. The first system is the water comes up from the well. So that's natural water from the well, which is down underground, comes up, goes into a huge tank. Then I have an ozone system, which is 24 hours a day inside that very water. From there, it goes into another system, which is filled with salt tablets, and three other different filterization systems. And then from there, it goes down to the house, my house, and then I've got a reverse osmosis. Now, I don't drink that water, and I could easily drink that water, but I don't. I drink this water because this is pure. And when you're getting water from underneath the ground, sometimes it can have bacteria in, which can be dangerous. Even though all of those processes are fantastic, I still would rather drink pana agua. So my investment, instead of smoking and drinking and gambling and buying fancy clothes and doing all the things that most people do, that's not important to me. Water's important to me. So when I give you this information, only 1% will take this on board because it's too much for them. It's too much to hear. What, you mean I have to do something to make the difference? Yeah, you have to get up off your ass and go and do something about it. No, I can't really be bothered. And I know only 1% will do it. Most will be watching this thinking, oh, yeah, brilliant, but never, ever putting the knowledge into practice. And knowledge is meaningless. It's penniless. It means nothing unless you put it into practice. So what kills this amazing, beautiful spacesuit with this amazing pine cone in there, what kills it? I mean, when I say kills it, I mean, you know, there are so many attacks on it. There's so many attacks. Wi-Fi is an attack on it. Fluoride, an attack on it. Poisons that are sprayed all over your shite roundups and your all the poisons that are put onto the ground by the farmers. That's all goes into the food, on top of the food, and it goes into your mouth. That kills the pineal gland. Of course, there's a reason why they're spraying every day. It's called aluminium. There's a reason why they put things into our arm, because there's aluminium in that. There's no reason for aluminium. They'll tell you that, oh, it's good. We need the aluminium because it's a carrier and it'll do the. Again, that's just the cover story. The spraying, oh yeah, that's because the sun's too hot. When's the sun ever been too hot? We've lived a whole lifetime. Our grandfathers, nobody's ever mentioned that, because it's a cover story. So now we have to cover the sun, but they're not covering the sun. They're spraying the very things that are causing the pineal gland to calcify and to die. So fluoride. Can you imagine they put it in toothpaste? Imagine they put it in your water. So what are you going to do about it? Every single toothpaste I have is fluoride free. I don't have aluminium paper anymore, which we used to wrap up the chicken in. It's gone. I use greaseproof paper. Let's go down the path of drugs. Drugs are not good. They're really not good. We know everything that Big Pharma does is harmful. Harm in. So we try to stay clear of that. We try to stay clear of alcohol. It's the only thing that was open through the four solid years of being, locked up or being terrified. You can get your alcohol, you can get your drugs, no problem. All the things that they want you to keep taking. When you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, I'm going to upset you again, but I think taking drugs in a recreational manner is also not good neither. It causes great harm and pain. Something that I've never said before, which is very important that we start talking about. So when I used to do healing sessions, people used to ask me all the time, what did you do? What happened? And I used to say nothing. I just cleared the negative energy away. And I remember a doctor asking me, out of the whole of the body, where do you normally spend the most time on a healing session? Which I thought was a great question, and he's a doctor. And I said, there's 3 places I spend the most time. That is the stomach, that's the heart, and the head. And I said, and the most time spent is on the head. And he was fascinated, and he said, this is exactly what I wanted to hear, because he was doing a study. He was doing some kind of peer-reviewed paper. And I was glad I was able to help him. What I didn't tell him, and what I don't tell people, is that dark energy is created one of 2 ways. And the darkness knows that if it can put fear into your brain, into your mind, it creates a frequency in your mind which is dull and low. And at that point, when your brain is in dull and low, it kills the pineal gland. It's almost like it covers it with a spiritual darkness, like a dark fog. And at that point, your whole body system can then be open to attack from entity. So it's vital that we keep our pineal gland strong. So therefore, what do? We stop fearing, we stop worrying, and we stop thinking. And when I say thinking, I'm talking about all the thoughts that have been programmed into your mind through the day and the black screen. All the thoughts of fear of what ifs and whys and why nots. All of those contribute to this dark cloud sticking around your pineal gland, and thus you become depressed. I don't heal anymore. Stopped, because it was too much for me. It took its toll. If you've read my book, Seeing the Invisible, you'll know why I stopped, because it was hard work for me and it was a shock energy. So I stopped because of what happened to me all the way through one night in Bali. Point being is, I was in the UK a month or 2 ago, a few months ago, and a dear friend of mine, Vincent, called out and said his daughter wasn't feeling too good, and please, could you come? And I'm like, I'm here in the UK. Of course, for you, my friend, of course I did. And I did an hour work, and guess where I worked? When I'd finished, she posted on social media. She's got over 1 million followers. She said, you know, my dad's best friend is a healer, and I wasn't doing so well, and I had some mental issues, going through some mental issues, and I feel really well now, and we need more people like this. So the point being is she didn't have any mental issues at all. She had negative energy, which was in a brain that needed to be blasted away. So my point being is a healer is a good place to start. A good healer will always know how to clear the negative energy from wherever it needs to go. This isn't ego. I'm not bragging. I am not the best healer in the world. Anybody could have done the same thing who practices healing. I know this. So it's not about, I'm not bragging. I don't brag. I don't care. I don't give a shit about ego. And I don't care whether you think I'm a good or bad healer. I don't care. But I'm just telling you the experience that I went through. From that point, when I'd finished healing, by the way, funnily enough, they never stop. They don't care, because the reason why they don't care is because they know that your body is meaningless in the sense that you never die. So spirit world keep using you. And from that point of giving a healing session, guess what? Within the next 20 minutes of leaving there, somebody else rung and said, Mark, my mum's in a bad place. I'm like, oh, I've opened the doors again. So I went over to my friend who I worked for with horses. I used to be the horse healer there, official horse healer. And I spent 3 days there. And when I got back, I was ill. I was sick. But she was fine. And now she's happy and she's doing all what she does. And she's taken on board all that I said. And she's eating healthier and she's happy now. And I was sick for 2 weeks. I was literally ill because I don't know anymore with this injection, which has happened to people, how to cleanse and how to protect myself from that frequency, because it wasn't something that I've been across. And I said I would never heal anybody, but like Mark Bajerski he sometimes just doesn't know when to say no. And I love these people that I heal, but I don't want to do it anymore. And that's why I teach people to heal. But I also say I don't really know what healing is anymore, because you have to deal with people who are injected, and that is a frequency in there, which, like I said, is whatever's inside them injections are inside the body. And this a frequency that I have no idea, but I can tell you this now. I was sick for 2.5 weeks, and it was hard to clear that out and clear it away. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not here to, there's no other reason why I'm telling you other than I can't lie. I can't lie about these things. I've just got to be honest. So a lack of sleep, which is obviously attached to fear and worry. So it's important to know that if you are not getting the necessary sleep that your body can allow to re-heal through the work of your consciousness that leaves the body and goes to the spirit world and travels and then comes back into you. If you are inside that body all night long, and I can't really explain what it is. There's no such words. I've never heard any spiritual people say this, but there's something about leaving the body, and whether it's going back to the spirit world or healing people in this world, or wherever you go, there's a transition of healing taking place, and your battery, your heart battery becoming rejuvenated or going back to 100% again. If you are not sleeping through the night, the battery doesn't get charged fully. So when you sleep, it's like being plugged into the universal energy that feeds you and feeds the battery life. If you're awake all night, then you'll find that your pineal gland won't function. Nothing functions properly. So sleep is really, really, really important. Frustration is another energy that really is a killer of the pineal gland. You have to learn to stop being frustrated with people and life. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. But there are things that we can do to help. I've got to say, I've stopped drinking caffeine. I'm like, here is, I've got a coffee, but there's no caffeine in there. And the milk is from almonds that I crushed and put in water. But I like, look how much I've drunk. I'll end up throwing that away. And so I don't really bother so much with that. I try to drink as much water, but I don't drink enough. I probably drink 2 a day, and it's not enough. I should be drinking at least 3. So I know I have to wake myself up as well. I really mean this. I really believe that only 99%, when I say, I don't mean only, I mean 99% of people don't know who they are or why they're here in this world. They haven't a clue. They're lost. And they're just walking, I guess, automatons. And why? It's not your fault if you don't know. It's because your pineal gland isn't functioning. It isn't receiving the information that it's meant to. These spacesuits are meant to receive information from the good, from the energy, from the ether, from the cosmos. That gives us vital information that molds the world into the world that it should be going into. Again, if your pineal gland, if your antenna is not functioning, then you are going to be lost. You're not going to know what to do, where to go. You're just going to be a walking robot. And we're all to blame. We're all in the same thing. I work hard to do it, but I know some days that, my pineal gland isn't functioning. So that said, what are some of the things that we can do to help the pineal gland and to help clear the dark energy that sits around the pineal gland of all what we've spoken about? Well, I did mention the vinegar, apple cider vinegar, because you imagine vinegar will clear cal. So if it's calcified, it's going to help clear it. And if you drink that every day, brilliant. There's a reason why you should be drinking fresh lemons every day. Again, I believe it will clear your pineal gland and strengthen your pineal gland is something that we need to look at. I think sugar is a killer of the pineal gland. I think if your body is of I guess really what we should be looking at is to change the body to an alkaline body. So everything that you go online and look for should be alkaline based. If it's acidic based, then you're going to cause an issue to your pineal gland. I really like pineapple and orange from the greats, those that shared the information, the ancient wisdom, which was written in books that many people talk about. So the mixture of pineapple, fresh pineapple and orange together in your mouth, it causes a reaction and helps. It's almost like it awakens the pineal gland. So you get, not only you feel energized, uplifted, and you feel more connected. Stay away from stress. Stay away from people who give you stress if you can't deal with stress. There's a reason why we meditate, and the reason why we meditate is to be in that peaceful state that your body then can start healing itself. if you are constantly running around working, if you are constantly stressed and worried, working in the mind, then those that I believe are your workforce, your soldiers, I used to call them little fish, that clear away all that needs to be cleared away. They can't clear it away. They only truly work when you are in peace, and it doesn't work in sleep pattern. It only works in peace pattern. That's why when people go down to the sea and have the sun on their skin, which is again a very important factor for the pineal gland, natural sun. I say in direct sunlight. I'm in direct sunlight. Direct sunlight. Get it on you. Rubbing creams on your body is again, it's going to go straight to the pineal gland and cause great suffering of the whole body. Going into the sun and knowing when to get out of the sun is important. If you're wearing sunglasses, then your body won't know, because through the eyes speak to your body. So your eyes say, wow, it's really hot. And your body then kicks in and produces chemicals, natural chemicals to protect your body. But more so, if you've got an uncalcified pineal gland, you won't be as thick as dumb muck to stay in the sun and burn yourself like I do sometimes. And I just get so angry with myself. Why did you do that? You know you should have gone in. That was enough. Build up to the tan. But you can't, because you guys have 2 weeks off. So you want to get as much sun on your skin, and yeah, you'll burn yourself, and that ain't good. The body heals from it. You don't get, in my humble opinion, you don't get no disease from the sun. You get disease from poisons that you put in your mouth or rub on your skin. But that, of course, is the way that they fool you. That's how they trick you. Oh, it's the sun, so keep putting your suntan lotion on. Okay, so being sensible when you're in the sun. Meditation doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sit under a tree for 18 years like the Buddha to understand meditation. Meditation simply means that you try to get into a state of inner peace. And it's not easy. That's why I always recommend healing. So if you want to really, truly heal yourself, become a healer. Learn how to heal. So there are other practices that I use. It's cleansing my aura, which then takes the stress away, which then clears the mind and strengthens the pineal gland. It's all connected. Psychic work is fantastic. Try it sometime. Sit in a bar outside, have a nice mint tea, watch people walk past, and try and tell a story of that person, who they are. So as they're walking past, you can say, that person looks like they're going through a lot of stress and pain. That person looks like they're very, very loyal, and start to awaken your pineal gland. Okay. That's called strengthening and exercising that muscle, or that pine cone. Go to, every now and again, go to an airport and watch people hug each other and love each other. There's an energy of power that you will get from that. Become more loving to people and help people by gifting, by sharing, by being a kind soul. That strengthens the pineal gland. Again, I'm not promoting anything that I do, but I do believe wholeheartedly in I use cards, whether it's angel cards, tarot cards, and I like to because it opens up your third eye. It opens up your pineal gland as soon as you start doing the cards. So, that's why I created a tarot course, and it's not all about tarot. It's about how to open your third eye and see things that you've never seen before. It's not about learning from a book. It's about you opening yourself up. So there's right ways, and I think there's wrong ways. And I don't work from the brain. I work from the consciousness, from the intuition. So we need to start opening ourselves up to intuition instead of blocking it off. There's certain crystals that I really like to work with when I'm thinking about the pineal gland. And funnily enough, one's only been in my life for, less than a year or two. And I refused to use it at first because I believed it was close to MOLDAVITE, but it isn't. It's different. And I realize now that Libyan desert glass is a stimulator for the pineal gland, but coupled with tektite, it absolutely is in sync. So I found that whenever I feel that my pineal gland is not functioning, I will get Libyan desert glass and my tektite, which is together. I have them made together, and I wear it, and within a few hours, I'm starting to manifest. It's incredible. Manifest means I'm receiving and I'm creating. There's another crystal that I like, and it has a similar effect, and it's called peach moonstone. That really 3 or 4 times in the past few years has really helped me. So there are a couple of things. MOLDAVITE is another that will open your pineal gland. There's others like Tissit, there's Mount Shasta, but them two are really profound. But there are others, Moonstone as well, fantastic. So, you just try them out and see which works best. So I guess part 1 is over, and I hope you are not angry with me. On a side note, I would recommend raw coconut oil to be digested, a teaspoon every day. Not only does it help with Alzheimer's, and the reason why it helps with Alzheimer's is because it reawakens the pineal gland and strengthens it. So then all of a sudden, you're not in that state of unknowing. So I hope some of these things that I share with you today, I don't ever mean to upset people. I don't mean to send fear to anybody. What I'm trying to do is help people see that the world is under attack spiritually. And we'll talk about the spiritual in the next coming part 2 and part 3. But I hope the information that I shared with you is information that I've learned over 20 years, and you don't need to take it all on board. You just need to take one thing on board and implement it, and then keep doing it. And then if you feel a benefit, then you might think, oh, I might come back to this video and implement one more thing. I can't tell you to stop fearing. I can't make you stop worrying. That is something that you have to work on yourself, just like I did when I was 38 years old. I had to change my life, and it's not easy. But I do say this, when I looked in the mirror and started saying, I can't live like this anymore, I've got to change my way. It's almost like the floodgates open and synchronicities and wonderful things start pouring in. People say to me, why is it that I don't get synchronicities? And I say, I don't know. I haven't got a bloody clue. But for me, they all came pouring in when I said, I can't live like this anymore. And I really meant what I meant. And I gave up everything and came to live in a magical mountain with nothing. And I had time on my hands to be able to figure things out and allow things into my life without fighting and running and chasing my tail like a dog, like I always did. This time now, I'm just looking at myself and trying to figure out who am I, what am I doing? And through clearing of fear by going to circles where we were healing people in these circles, information comes, and it's almost like the spirit world say, okay, they're ready now. So for me, I could easily say that prior to that, I was just running around like a dog chasing my tail. Yeah, I might have been successful. Yeah, I might have been funny. I might have had a great life, but it wasn't really a life. And then at 38, now what I'm supposed to do is kicked in. I'm not saying that I would take the 38 years away, because it was all beautiful and it was all ups and downs, but when I became the healer, and I'm not saying you should become a healer. What I'm saying is that whatever your path is and what you're meant to be doing, when you are doing it, you don't feel pain, you don't feel suffering, you don't feel like you're working, you don't feel like you're imprisoned, you don't feel like you're a slave. You feel like you're living the life you were meant to do when you came into this earth. So don't tell me that we live on a world that is all, evil. It isn't. And that we're being fed by, entities all day long and they're taking over the world. No. I've had 20 years of sheer bliss, of healing and traveling and enjoying my life. And yeah, I had entities that attached to me, but cleared them off pretty quick. No problem. Took half an hour. It was gone. I had times where I was in, houses and there were trapped spirit there, but it's easily cleansed. So things can be easily rectified, and there's always light and dark in this world, and they always will be. You imagine if it was all light in this world. I don't think it was meant to be all light, but it wasn't meant to be all dark neither. And I think that through the perspective of what we see every day, as a healer, it was 20 years ago up until this moment. And yes, we've had 4 years of a challenge, 4 years of darkness being more powerful. But I know people who have, those past 4 years, created and made some amazing changes and difference in this world. And they opened so many people's eyes, and there was so much love. And yeah, we do get knackered and we do get exhausted and we do think that the world's getting worse and everything's bad. And maybe it is. Maybe it is getting worse. But maybe this video today, just like when Richie Allen does his videos, maybe he's just made a group of people a lot happier and stronger from not taking their life and not feeling that it's the end of the world and not feeling like they're the only ones feeling this. And maybe this video today is helping people that, hey, tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, you might turn around and say, you know what, Mark, that freaking video that you made, I made some changes and I've never felt better. And I'm like, well, that's how I felt. I listened to certain people and watched and then like, wow, I'd like to try that. So I started learning how to heal, and wow, them cards really did work. How could you know that my mum's died? How can you know that I used to go to bingo with my mum? Unless she's here now. Oh no, it's all evil. No, it's not. No, it's not all evil. Only evil people say it's all evil. There's a lot of love in this world, and there's a lot of magic. And when I say magic, I don't mean occult, evil spells. I'm talking about good, kind, loving, universal attunement, universal synchronicities, our power to be able to connect and feel to the ultimate source that the pineal gland is helping us do. Don't start to use that brainwashing nonsense that darkness has manipulated us believing that, oh, tarot cards are evil, crystals are evil. That's a manipulation. That is a sleight of hand to make you believe that it's all bad. So then you go even darker place instead of saying, actually, crystals are fantastic. They've really helped me along my journey, and I've never felt as strong. Oh, but they're evil. Oh my God, there you go. Now you know how easily humanity is manipulated and how brainwashed they are, whether it's via a cult religion, or whether it's just by a brainwashing of mock and ridicule. Be the black sheep. Be true to your truth. Know your experience and stand in that power. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Love you all. Bye for now.